Hi everyone, welcome to the Little Birdie magazine. Today I've got Ugo Kennedy with me. Now Ugo, you have become quite famous locally for your bespoke hats. Would you like to share a little bit about your story with me?
Sure. Oh, firstly, thank you for having me. It's great to be here. Where we are right now is my studio space and my hat shop, and honestly, it's just such an honor and such a privilege to be able to have this space to create my art. So where it all started was basically during COVID. Everyone was uncertain about life and the circumstances that we were all under. It was a very, very sort of confusing time for everybody, and I just thought, why not use this time to learn something new?
Because you had a big change, didn't you? You're not a hatter by trade. You probably never considered becoming a hatter through most of your previous life. So what was the big change? What actually made you think to pick up, I don't know, whatever it is you pick up to make a hat?
Yeah, so in all honesty, it just came from having to reinvent myself and start afresh. That's the truth. I wanted to start afresh, try my hand in something new, and really just see what I had to give.
You have an accent. You're obviously not a local Townsvillian. So where's your accent from?
So I'm from London.
Mm-hmm.
So London. I lived there my entire life. My heritage actually is Nigerian, which is West African. But
And what does your name mean? Because I know.
Yeah.
So how do you pronounce it properly?
Ugo.
Ugo.
Yeah.
And
it has to come from the chest,
Yeah. And what does it mean?
So Ugo in the Nigerian language means eagle. Mm-hmm. It also means to be proud. Pride and eagle, and I think it's also king of birds. So I actually have a fascination with birds, and if you look at a lot of my hats in the inside,
we'll take a look.
Yeah,
later, definitely.
There's a lot of
So what brought you to Townsville? So obviously it probably wasn't on your radar to come here necessarily.
That's right. Yeah, look, Townsville wasn't a place that I ever envisioned coming at in that time of my life. I was living in London, just figuring things out and working over there and living. So I came back to Townsville for family reasons, and ended up having a son born here, and life kind of dealt me with some very sort of very interesting cards, unfortunate cards. But here we are now, and I've been here for 6 years, and I absolutely love Townsville. I absolutely love it.
It's that kind of city, isn't it?
For sure.
You fall in love with it pretty well. So I know I'm similar boat. I haven't been here as long as you. You're more local than I am.
There you go.
But you do fall in love with the city. So what did you do when you first came here? You were working in hospitality?
Yeah, for sure. So,
and just a little shout out to the Townsville Brewery.
Cheers,
while we're
guys.
sitting here.
Cheers. My first arrival in Townsville wasn't that of a holiday or a place to come and have fun. There was a family situation that I had to work with and deal with. And so that was the first 2.5, 3 years were just focused on that and trying to deal with all of the challenges of visa and, living in Townsville, being a new dad, having to deal with all of these kind of things and hurdles. So at first, that's the first 3 years, trying to just figure things out. And in all honesty, it was very tough, and I fell down many times, made many mistakes and learned from them. So here we are now, reinvented myself.
So COVID hits.
Yeah, COVID hits.
You're
and
a single dad?
Single dad in my apartment.
Trying to figure out what you're going to be doing.
Yeah, like Sometimes the best moments in your life come through adversity and come through when you just have nothing left and you hit ground bottom and you say to yourself, okay, what now? There's no more, it's real. Where do we go from here? And so, like I said, COVID happened. I was fortunate enough to have a spare bedroom, and my housemate, Nick, so I'm very grateful to Nick, we lived on Melton Terrace, just up the corner there. And so we lived there together. We had a 3-bedroom apartment. And in the 3-bedroom apartment, he had his room, I had my room, and we actually had a very small spare bedroom. COVID happened, and I just said to him, I said, hey, please, Nick, would it be possible for me to use this spare room? What do I need to do to occupy this space? He was like, listen, there's something in your eyes, there's a sparkle in your eyes. I can tell there's something you're up to. Just have the space and use it. And I just turned that into a workshop. And honestly, I put a lock on the door, and I was working in the restaurant. But actually just trying to figure that out as well, because work was a bit up in the air. I sat there in the bedroom, and I just, piece by piece, figured out how to deconstruct and customize a hat. You see, I started customizing hats. That's actually how I started. So.
Were you sewing them then, or were you...
Not at first, not in the first instance.
You obviously like hats. So
I love hats, yeah. So in the first instance, like I said, I just wanted to be creative. I was in my room, and it was just a sort of miserable time. And I thought, let me do something that will bring me.
Because you've been back overseas for a bit, hadn't you? Before you did come back into this apartment and to re-find yourself, so to speak. Yeah?
Correct. Yeah. So the last time I was back in London was, I would say August 2019.
Yeah. Okay.
Came back
right before COVID.
Right. Exactly. Came back. COVID. Everything's on pause. And I said, you know what? I'm going to do something. I'm going to get creative. I'm going to use my hands. I'm going to use my mind. I'm going to use my creativity. And so here we are. I deconstructed an Akubra. I had an Akubra hat. Yeah. And I actually took it apart, thread by thread, stitch by stitch.
Really?
I got a lamp. I got a candle. I put the candle on, I put some soft music on, and I just remember I rummaged through my kitchen drawers.
And made it quite spiritual, it sounds like.
Yeah, because my art has transformed me. My art has changed my life, and I believe art is healing. That's what I'm doing. I'm creating art, so.
It is. You make very bespoke pieces. They're not mass-produced, as we were talking about before. They're very bespoke. Yeah.
So I managed to find one of those sewing kits you get from like a Christmas cracker, boom, and then the little packet falls out. And you're like, what am I going to do with this? And I found one in my kitchen drawer, and I thought, you know what, that will do. So I got that, music, candles, set the scene. I put the hat down, and I just looked at it, and I'm like, right, I'm going to figure you out. And took the hat apart. And a Akubra, I took it apart, like into 6 different pieces, sweatband, lining.
I'm still trying to get my head around the fact you still had one of those little sewing
kits. Yeah, I had one,
and
they're very entry-level sewing kits. Like, they've got like a defredder and a little thing for your finger. But I use that, and I try and explain to people, something very special happened in that moment. I was just at peace. I was very, very in a peaceful state. And I was sewing and stitching, and I actually put the hat back together again. And it clicked. I was like, I love this. I love this.
What did you love about it? Was it the detail, the focus?
It was the focusing on something, enjoying the intricacy of how it was put together, reverse engineering the item and putting it back together in a funky way with a bit of a twist. So that's what I was doing. I was actually customizing hats. That's exactly how I started, just customizing hats, and I would put my bandana, like a necktie or something, and I would put it around the Akubra, and maybe I found a feather on the strand or something, or whatever, or a playing card, I don't know, just anything I could find, and I would actually customize a Akubra hat. That's how it started.
Wow, that's
exactly,
amazing. And so what brought you to this amazing little studio space you've got? Because it's pretty cool. And
Thank you.
I know a lot of people walk past and they look in the window and they want to come in, and I know you don't let them when you're working sometimes, but it's become your workspace as well as your, like a studio in its complete sense.
That's right. It's a studio, workspace, safe haven. We've had photo shoots here. We're doing an interview here today.
Yeah.
So it's multifaceted space.
Available for drinking.
Available.
Occasionally, the Townsville Brewery, another shout out. Yeah.
So
But how did you get here? I know there's a little story behind you finding this space and moving in here.
For sure. So this space is still owned by the Speckled Hen. So the Speckled Hen own this space, and they've had a few businesses come in, and they left it dormant for some time. And they said to me that they were just waiting for something that they felt would be right for this space. I think a coffee shop came in and they all said, oh, maybe another time, and I think a couple of businesses came with some ideas. I rocked up, and I remember I rocked up and I wore one of my hats. It's a brown one that's up there.
Yeah.
I wore one of my hats, my favorite hat, and I walked in there, and I had a bit of confidence, and I said, hey guys, my name's Ugo. I'm a self-taught hat maker, making hats for my bedroom around the corner. They just looked at me. Like in awe, like what are you talking? And I said, what are you?
Well, we're in Townsville, North Queensland. It's not.
Yeah.
Well, it's actually probably happening more and more. People making bespoke fashion items up here
That's
now.
right.
Certainly, the art culture here is growing.
It is.
But there aren't too many hatters around. Huh?
Yeah. So it just took them by surprise, and they said to me, "Are you telling me that you make hats?" And I said, "Yes, I do." And they said, "Did you make that hat you're wearing?" I said, "Yes, I did." They said, "Can I have a look?" I said, "Yes, please." And I took my hat off and I showed them, and they looked at it inside, outside, and they were like, "You're in. You're in. We're going to give you this chance." And I thank them so much for giving me this opportunity to, like I said, have space to create. And I said to them, "Look, I'm actually going to come in here, and it's not going to be a shop. That's why it's a studio first and a shop second.
Yeah.
It's not just about churning out thousands of hats a day. It's about having a space to create." And they were like, "You're in." And so I got the keys to this property on the 2nd of June, and I've been here ever since, making all the hats.
So you haven't been here long?
No.
It's only been a very short space of time.
Yeah. I've been making hats for 2 years.
Yeah, but only been in here.
Only been in here a year and a bit.
Having this visibility now, and I know that lots of people pass by and look in and are amazed and are trying to figure out what you're doing. And I guess what we're trying to do is share some of that. So, so you've been in here, what is it, June, July, August, September, October, not even 6 months?
No, of last year. So June of last year. Yeah, June of
okay,
last year.
A year and a half.
A year and a half. Yeah, been in here, and it's the space is. I always like to say everything I'm doing is one big experiment. What I do with my hats is one big experiment. How I create my hats is an experiment. What I conduct here is all an experiment. So, when I got this space, I realized that I could, really provide a service to people. So what this business is, it's an appointment-only business, whereby somebody can book an appointment, come on in, and it's just us, it's just them and I. And we can talk about what they want their hat for, where they're going to wear it, how it's going to be used.
What sort of people come in?
Everybody.
Everybody.
Yeah, so many different people, and that's what I love about it. It's like I've done wedding hats now, which has been an absolute honor. Like a bedroom, starting out in the bedroom, creating hats, and now someone approached me to make them a hat for their special day.
Yeah,
it's very touching.
I think one of the things I find really interesting is we talk about men's fashion too, and it can be quite limited in regional centres in a sense. But the fact we now have someone too who can make bespoke hats for men as well, because women, there's a proliferation of mass-produced hats around. But
absolutely.
For men, not so much. And that idea that you know, not everybody wears hats, but those that do love them, and that something very bespoke can be created for them. So I know that there's a couple of charities that are very close to you. One is the Charlie Teo Foundation.
Yes.
And the other is Headspace.
Yes.
Charlie's been getting a bit of flack lately, but your experience with him has been positive?
Yeah, 100%. I've been fortunate enough to meet him. And yeah, from meeting him and from him sharing some of the stories and the things that he does, has absolutely blown my mind. And I admire his craft, and I admire his, you know, his dedication to what he does. The day I met him, I remember he mentioned to us and the family members, he said that he is actually traveling overseas to do an operation on like a 6-year-old child with brain cancer. So it's like from one operation to another, and he's just, yeah, he's dedicated his entire life.
He's been quite a innovator, I guess.
100%.
Innovator, pushing the boundaries.
Yeah.
You know, going places other people won't go,
100%.
I guess. And I guess you're a little bit the same, you know, when those people around us who try and do things, you know, push the boundaries of what people just accept is quite a strength of character.
I believe so. I think what he's doing is a great job, and I'll be happy to support him. We've done an event here before, whereby I saw, I don't know, you can see the artwork on the wall.
Yep,
they're the ones, they're the ones that were left over from the event. I did some art and sold the framed ones for $100 and the unframed ones for $50, and 100% of the proceeds went to Charlie Teo's foundation.
And what about the Headspace? Is that...
So the Headspace is a newer, it's the newest charity that I'm working with, and I just think that mental health is obviously it can be a taboo with men, with people in general, but with men, you know, even myself, I feel like throughout my life I should have been getting mental health support throughout my whole entire life, you know, and yeah, I feel like Headspace, what they're offering and what they're doing is again pushing the boundaries, and anything to do with mental health advocacy, I'm all for that.
Big supporter.
Yeah, big supporter.
Now, just off on another topic, there's a couple of little birdie secrets that we're allowed to talk about, right. I believe, about some collaborations you've got coming up.
Yeah, so down in Bondi, Gould Street, there is a boutique shop called Circa BC. Very, very aesthetically pleasing shop. They sell like candles and sage sticks, Palo Santo sticks, and you know, it's very holistic. And I met them, and we've talked about me designing a collection of hats to be sold as an independent brand in their boutique shop in Bondi, Gould Street. So there's that one, There's another shop in the Palm Cove.
Not as good as Flinders Street.
Not as good as Flinders Street, no way. And then up in Palm Cove, there's a beautiful little boutique art studio space called The Little Green Bicycle. And that's run by Natalie and Lorenzo, and they also want me to make some hats for their shop too.
Fantastic.
So, yeah, branching out.
Things are moving, and we discussed too that you are increasing your production capacity, not mass producing in any way, shape or form, still very bespoke, still very handmade, but you're working on some techniques so you can increase your capacity a bit as well.
Correct,
And people just ring you or contact you via Instagram to actually access you for, you know, to talk to you about making them a hat?
For sure, yeah. So,
or buying one of the ones that you've got online in your online shop?
So you can buy online, you can book an appointment, come on in. But yeah, look, after making hats for 2 years now, I have figured out a way to make a little bit faster, because I'm getting better at what I'm doing, and I've got, like, you know,
more orders
coming in, I guess, And
that's a good thing.
Well, it's just, I've kind of worked out a system that works. Here. It's like blocking, I'll show you when we talk about it, but like blocking, waiting for the felt to dry, steaming, sanding, shaping, and you know, I've got a good system going on, so.
Okay, well, let's go and grab our beers and have a look at how you make these amazing hats.
Thank you, let's do it.
you.